what a productive morning routine as a PhD student, especially for off-campus students, it's not really easy, especially because how the PhD itself works. Usually in PhD life, the thing that I learn is my emotion always changing. Sometimes it's so motivated, but sometimes it's so low motivated. But I try my best to maintain my emotion, to make sure every day I'm eagerly to learn about my research and eagerly to start a new thing for my research. So for me, my research is kind of like the continuous experimental. Every day I strive to experiment a new thing because the correction is non-stop. So after I clean my room, I will make sure I clean my workstation. So for me, the workstation, how it looks like is so important. If I easily to get stressed, but my workstation is so nice for me to see, it's just satisfying for me, then easy for me to calm down. In order to keep track all my activities every day to make sure I maintain my productivity level, I love to use to-do lists, and I will stick it on my wall on my lab. It's easy that way because I always look to the wall. If I didn't use to-do list, it's easy for me to get distracted with other things. And some people said my mind sometimes working like ADHD brain because it's easily to get override by other situations instead to maintain with my current situation. I also noticed that kind of situation. I always easily get stressed with other things. Example, when I'm still reading, but suddenly my friend texting me. So when I read the message, I almost forgot what I already read. It's quite bad. So it's so important for me to make sure everything is under control. If not, I will keep doing the correction again and again. Since I joined PhD, I learned a lot of new things. One of it, I have to trust myself. So when it comes to study, a lot of people share their tips of study. My friends share their tips of study. My lecturer also share their tips of study. But because of my situation of easily to get distracted, easily to be influenced by other activities, I have to create my own study style. So I only can read book in the morning for 1 hour only. I can't read more than 1 hour because if I read more than 1 hour, I feel like I just reading but I don't understand anymore. If I push myself, I'm able to understand it, but I easily get headache. Then at that stage, I can't read anymore. I have to step out of my room, go outside, stay outside of my home for a few minutes, and after my headache is gone, I can start studying again. So that's why I really have to control my study duration. Usually for reading, only for 1 hour. And then after that, I have to stop to start other activity which is more practical. I'm glad since I started YouTube, I'm more focused on editing, and it's really helped me to remove my stress. Because when I focus on practical instead of theoretical, I feel more active and I feel more happy instead of trying to burn out my mind understanding a lot of things which is so hard to understand. And I don't deny when I always focus on my study only. I really miss to go out and healing, like go to beach, hiking. Last time when I was in undergraduate, I always join that kind of activity, especially for hiking, camping. I'm so enjoyed with that kind of activities. But now everything is no more. I always stay in my room reading. Maybe that's why people say PhD is kind of like boring and kind of like killing your current activities. But it's okay. I try my best to make sure I'm stable. After I always spend time in my room instead of going out. I try my best to mix, to spend more time with my family. And when I do it, I able to balance my life back. So it's not totally boring like before. And another thing that I evolve with is sharing my knowledge on social media. And this is one of my favorite at this moment. It's kind of like a new hobby. It's not really new. It started in 2021. 2022. I started more serious with that kind of sharing. Mostly, I share my knowledge on TikTok before I move to YouTube. So at first, I never imagined a lot of things I able to share, because at that moment I didn't learn a lot yet. So after I started my TikTok journey, my TikTok platform, and then I started to become more excited to learn a new thing, because I want to share with you guys what I know, and I feel so blessed when people texting me that my video able to help them a lot. And they say it's true that PhD field is really boring and challenging, because it's totally different with how your undergraduate life before. Previously in undergraduate, we have a lot of friends, we have a lot of support. For the moral support is really important, and when we have a lot of friends surrounding us, so the moral support is really high, so it's good. But for postgrad, it's like you don't have that anymore. A lot of your friends already married. A lot of your friends didn't continue PhD, didn't continue master, because they already working. And some of your new friends, they continue PhD while working, so they have only limited time to spend with you, to be your supportive person. Then that's why you need another thing to make sure you didn't feel lonely in PhD. And another challenge with a lot of people facing, and I also face the same thing for my first year join master in research. At that moment, now I'm PhD, master in research. Last few years back, master in research. At that moment, I realized nobody will help me from scratch. You have to develop the platform first. You have to develop your foundation first. Then others will be able to help you. If not, nobody able to help you. But the problem is to develop the foundation, to develop the platform. Being here to understand my situation at the moment is to understand chapter 1, chapter 2. It's a little bit so hard for me to understand it at first. Because when I try to figure out what is chapter 1, chapter 2, the information that I get is always chapter. Chapter 1 is introduction part. Chapter 2 is literature review. You have to do this. But when we are kind of new from undergraduate and suddenly change to postgraduate, it's not easy to accept the totally independent world. Because in undergrad, whatever you ask, a lot of people will answer. So postgrad, whatever you ask, you have to answer it. That is the most challenging thing, which I found in my first year as a master in research student. And in that situation, it became more challenging for me because I changed my field from communication IT to a computer science. At that moment, I realized it's hard because my basic is more on front end knowledge, example front end programming and so on. But for computer science, it's more on back end. And for computer science master in research, there is a lot of new terms which I never heard before. And I try my best to figure it out. Unfortunately, at last, I didn't able to complete my master in research for computer science. But my situation, my journey for postgraduate didn't end there. I changed to UTM and I changed for Miss for an IT course again under information system. So everything is going okay for me. So remember, when you are tired, when you are really feel the stress, make sure you stop for a while and have a meal. You can cleaning your home, you can spend time with your family, and make sure everything is okay again before you start to study again. So I wish you full of luck. Good luck. Assalamualaikum.